So that's what he is playing. On the right, you've got Braun Duin. He's playing black-white mid-range, a deck that he wrote about on Star City on Thursday. And, you know, there's a long, elaborate story about Orzhov Guildgates and why he loves it. Yeah, he had one in his pocket when he won a PTQ, beat Tommy Ashton in the finals to qualify for Pro Tour Dublin, all that good stuff. But basically what happened is Kibler wrote an article about like a black-white, when he was writing about how to go about beating his deck, ironically that Braun Duin is playing against it, he wrote about like a black-white demons type strategy that might be good against this deck, and black-white demons in general might be a thing moving forward. And that's basically what Braun Duin has been working on, and that's what this deck is.
Wrote an article called Orzhov Guildgate,
correct.
So if you want to check it out. But in the meantime, we're underway. Jake leads off with an Elvish Mystic into a Strangleroot Geist for his second turn play. So Brian already down to 18 without having played an untapped Shockland. Played a tapped Shockland though. He has a Godless Shrine and a Swamp. He's deciding what he wants to do here with his second turn. And he decides to Doomblade the Elvish Mystic. It's like kind of like Bolt the Bird.
Kind of thing. I mean, I think he just wants to kind of hold off the mana acceleration. Maybe Cho doesn't have another green mana. You see him play another red. Again, he has a 2-color deck here with a lot of basics. We just saw a Pekulis match where he drew the wrong basics. That's something that can happen here for Cho.
So Strangleroot Guy's going to get in for another 2 after William plays. Oh, his name's William, not Jake. We had Jake up there. Is that what happened? Okay, good call. So William actually does not have that second green. BBD has a Vampire Nighthawk to show for his third turn.
Nighthawk actually looking especially good right now. You know, it can trade with the first part. I wouldn't say trade, but it wins the first part of the battle against Strangleroot Guys, and then trades with the second half.
Yeah.
And if Hellrider shows up to the party, I think that that Braun Duin is more than happy to trade his Vampire Nighthawk for a Hellrider. You know, he'll come out. Cho will come out a little bit ahead on the board, but you want to get Hellrider off the table. So
yeah, and look at that. It's like BBD had to read on the mana situation over there by dealing with that Elvish Mystic. Cho is stuck with 1 green source here on turn 4. He's got 3 mountains. At least, oh wait, I thought that was a mountain. It's a Rootbound Crag. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all
right. It
right.
had a big old glare on it. I thought it was a mountain.
It's gonna be okay. So it is gonna be Hellrider.
Hellrider. So Cho actually has a dude, but doesn't want to swing. Passes the turn.
Yeah, he's gonna hold both of his creatures back. Doesn't want to trade with the Vampire Nighthawk again. And I feel like this makes sense, you know, because he does have cards to draw to get Nighthawk off of the table. He does have 2 copies of Mizzium Mortars. Does have a Bond for the Damned. Can get a little creative with Armed Dangerous. Same thing can be said for Domri as well. So he's got some options here to see Braun Duin going into the tank about what he wants to do on his turn.
Yeah, Nighthawk doing a fair job of holding off the offense, though, for the moment. Brian at 16 after taking 2 hits from a Strangleroot Geist. Still well out of range of anything too scary from Cho.
And Braun Duin's deck list, pretty innovative. He's coming in here with the Nighthawk. He's got Obsnet, he's got Desecration Demon, Restoration Angel, Recyclable Bolas, multiple Vampire Nighthawks, 3 of them in his deck, 3 Dross Messengers as well. Does not have a 4th land though, so this attack is very aggressive.
Yeah. And we have a 5th land from Cho, and it looks like a Thunderball Hellkite.
So let's see, I mean, this is definitely going to be a removal spell. I didn't figure out which one. All right, so it's going to be Victim of Night to take care of that Hellrider.
So Hellkite and Geist get in, though.
I mean, it's kind of funny, right, where, you know, that attack with Vampire Nighthawk looks a little bit strange. Yeah. But if BBD has him red for Thunderball Hellkite, then that attack's perfect. Because if he doesn't attack with the Nighthawk, then he doesn't actually get the 2 life, and it just sits there and doesn't attack, doesn't block, because Thunderball's trigger. So it's actually a really, really good attack by BBD.
So BBD's going to play a Liliana here and minus it so that Cho has to sacrifice a creature. Cho decides to sacrifice the Strangleroot Geist. I think it's a decision any of us would have made.
Yep.
And does find a, is that an Orzhov Guildgate?
That is. It has shown up to the party.
The namesake.
He's got 3 of them in his deck.
Of the article, anyway. So Liliana on 1 counter, Nighthawk untapped at the ready to trade with that Thunderball Hellkite. Or with the Strangleroot Geist, if that's what BBD decides to do. I have a feeling he'd rather trade with the Hellkite.
I got a feeling he'd rather trade with the Hellkite, too. Again, I'm really interested to see how the rest of this game is going to progress here for Cho, what he has to play on this turn, if anything. Does he even want to trade with... it doesn't seem like he wants to make this trade at all. And so he's going to get into Liliana, which BBD is perfectly fine with.
Yeah.
Could trade, but decides not to.
Yeah, I like that attack because obviously you don't want to lose your Thundermaw Hellkite, but you're willing to lose to trade the back half for a Nighthawk, I think, or deal with Liliana as he just did.
Nighthawk coming in again.
Yeah.
Feels like maybe a Restoration Angel. I think I see one in BBD's hand,
And
trying to set a trap.
Yeah, no 5th land drop from BBD, but he does get in with the Nighthawk. Brian clawing his way back up to 20 slowly with that Nighthawk.
Yep. Gotta be mighty, mighty careful here for Cho.
Looks like he passed the turn. Didn't it look like a...
I mean, I think it was actually just how many cards he has in his hand.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Deciding if he wants to attack or not. Again, like, this is going to be really interesting to see how familiar Cho is with BBD's article and his deck list. Because if he read the article, took it to heart, and knows everything that's going on, then he knows that BBD has Restoration Angel access to that card in his deck. But if he doesn't, or is unfamiliar and doesn't keep up on articles and stuff like that, then he's not aware that this is a thing. So he could get caught here pretty badly.
So he plays a Domri Rad, which is awesome. Then he swings in with both guys. So he may be running himself right into that Restoration Angel trap, as you mentioned, but BBD still has to have the Angel, and there it is. Okay, so Restoration Angel. Blink the Nighthawk. Nighthawk trades with the Thundermaw. Angel deals with the Geist.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen here is a Gore Clan Rampager, which Cho obviously doesn't have.
Yeah. Did he activate the Domri?
Not yet.
No, I was going to say.
There we go.
I was like, either the 3 is wrong or he didn't activate Domri. And it's
Strangleroot
Geist.
But he tapped his mana in such a fashion that he can't play Strangleroot Geist post-combat, using 2 forests to actually tap for the Domri instead of Forest Mountain.
Not too big of a deal, except that it saves him mana for next turn if he would have been able to do it, but I guess it all depends on what he has available next turn and needs to
cast. It could end up being a pretty big deal, actually, oddly enough, because, if he does draw Mizian Mortars that he wants to overload, or draws a Bonfire of the Damned that he wants to put all of his mana into, now he has to reconsider his options on what he wants to do for the turn, where his options would be a little bit easier because he'd have access to all of his mana.
Right. So BBD still has not found that 5th land, but is doing okay. Finds, looks like he has an Oblivion Ring.
It does.
Very nice answer for a Domri.
It's a 2 of in his deck. It's a clean answer to Domri right now. Get that thing off the table. You know the red-green deck doesn't have any way to get Oblivion Ring off the table, so that's going to take care of the Planeswalker. And I like what BBD's doing here. Of course, he knows about the Strangleroot Geist, but at the same time, this deck has a lot of haste in it. It's basically all haste. It's a haste theme deck.
Right.
So playing defensively instead of trying to maybe erase or get 3 points of damage in here with the Restoration Angel, I just like that a lot better. Yeah, he's just going to block immediately.
Yeah, so Strangleroot Geist comes down, swings, Angel gets in the way.
And now Bonfire takes care of the rest of it.
And yeah, Bonfire will clear the Angel out of the way. That was a very troublesome Restoration Angel for Chio.
When he slams down his 5th land, it's going to play hopes of that. And this game is taking a turn.
Yeah. Cho finally deals with that Angel, only to have to deal with a Spirit. It's a little bigger than a Spirit.
Yeah, and he's going to blink it out. I was curious if he was going to do that or not, but he is going to blink it out. Doesn't want it to get snagged off by like a bad Miracle Bonfire if he has additional ones. We know that he doesn't. He only has one in his main deck, but doesn't want anything stupid to happen to his Obsidian because it's much more valuable as coming in and out than as a blocker. So
an Arbor Elf joins the force on Chio's side of the board after a swing from the Strangleroot Geist. And Obsidian comes back at the beginning of BBD's turn. And it's going to come over and hit William for 5. Blink out. But Obsidian has done 9 already.
Yeah, it's doing what it does, take over a game. It's funny that this card is so good against aggressive strategies, but it is. I mean, you would think that gaining 2, a card that comes in, gains 2, drains 2, and then isn't there to block, you would think that it wouldn't be that good. against aggressive strategies, but it just changes the way that they have to play the game. They might have to slow down attacking. They can't find a removal spell to kill it because oftentimes when you're playing an aggressive deck, your removal is sorcery speed, or it's like a damage-based removal spell that can't kill a 5 toughness creature.
Right.
So it actually ends up lining up really, really well against an aggressive deck, and you see Chio actually just concede the game because he knows he can't get out from underneath, odds of that draining him and braining him, a term that BBD likes to use.
I like it, drain him and brain him. So how many odds of that? He is playing 2 main deck, guys, just out of curiosity. Really, didn't see a lot from BBD's deck there, considering some of the interesting cards and interactions he's got in there. He's got the Disciple of Bolas, Geralf's Messenger combo, or Disciple and Desecration Demon, also a nice way to draw a bunch of cards. We basically, we saw the odds of that in the Restoration Angel, but on to the sideboards, BBD has Doomblade, Blind Obedience, 3 Duress, an additional Obsidat, a Curse of Death Soul, a Mutilate, that is the 3rd copy of Mutilate, 2 Pithing Needle, 2 Underworld Connections, an Ultimate Price, 1 Liliana, and 1 Vampire Nighthawk, an additional, that would be the 4th. So kind of a mix of removal and kind of bigger threats.
Yeah, it's like a mixed bag, but I think that there's some obvious things you can bring in. Doomblade, of course, against the haste deck.
Yeah.
Blind Obedience, the same thing as well.
Very good against it.
I like Nighthawk. I liked what I saw from Nighthawk in that first game.
Yeah.
It changed the way that Chio actually had to play a little bit, so I like bringing that in. Also being able to lower your curve.
Yeah.
Ultimate Price, of course, just like a Doomblade for the most part in this particular matchup. Liliana, he's got 2 main. He's got 2 in his main. Can board into a 3rd one. I don't love Liliana on the draw. I also don't love it in a matchup that has Stranglerootgeist. I think there are situations where Liliana can be good. I think those situations are going to be more on the play than they are going to be on the draw. Of course, there are also mana accelerants in the deck that I think Chio is more than happy to sacrifice Liliana as well. So I could actually see BBD boarding those out and leaving a 3rd one in the sideboard as well. And then the additional Mutilate I actually like coming in this matchup too. It's not great because, again, of the haste mechanic, but it's good enough. I think that it warrants its position coming in here.
So if he brings in Doomblade, Blind Obedience, Ultimate Price, Mutilate, and Vampire Nighthawk, there's 5 cards. Do you think he brings in another Obsidat? Probably not. Maybe.
Possible. I mean, he could board in 6. I think he's happy to board out 3 Geralf's Messengers since they're going to come in and play tapped. It's just not going to do what he wants to do in the matchup, so I think that's easy to board out.
Board those out, board down to 2 Lilianas.
So we're looking at 5 there, and maybe he can board out like a Sign in Blood. But then again, I didn't realize that he has 2 Blind Obedience in his main deck.
Right.
So does he want a 3rd one because additional copies have diminishing returns? I'm not sure.
I guess, what is the 3rd one there for if not, in the board, if not for this deck?
Yeah, you make a very, very good point there.
So, I imagine he brings it in. How about Chio's side of the board?
3 copies of Burning Earth, 2 Zealous Conscripts, 3 Volcanic Strength, 2 Bonfire of the Damned, a Mysian Mortars, a Searing Spear, 1 Trader's Blood, and then 2 Hound of Gristlebrand, a card we have not seen very much of.
Hound of Gristlebrand.
Because people are moving towards 2-color decks, Burning Earth's not going to really be at its best here. You look at the basic count there for BBD. He's got 12 swamps in his deck, and he's got 4, 8, 9, 7, 12, 13 non-basic. So 25 lands, 12 of which are basic. So Burning Earth's not really going to be at its best. So I think that's going to stay at home. 2 Zealous Conscripts, however, I actually do like quite a bit. The unfortunate thing for Chio, if he's not familiar with BBD's deck list, is that he's not aware that there are a lot of things that he can take with Zealous Conscripts that are good here. Desecration Demon being one of the bigger ones, Restoration Angel as well. So I actually think that I like Conscripts a lot in this matchup. Volcanic Strength, certainly not. Bonfire, certainly not. Mortars, I think, has some applications here. It's not at its best, but I think it's okay because take your
Right, exactly. Clears a Nighthawk out of the way, yeah.
So I think that's worth it. You can make the same argument for Searing Spear, except for Searing Spear more versatile because it can go upstairs. Hound, oddly enough, I don't really know what that's going to be good against.
If
maybe it's good in the mirror?
You don't remember what Hound of Gristlebrand is, it's a 2/2 for 4, which is awesome. Yeah. I guess it has other stuff too. It's a double strike and it has Undying, so it's 2 2/2s, but they can't be on board at the same time. How's that?
That's better. That's better. I mean, I'm probably I'm sure this probably has like mirror applications that I'm not thinking of, or some other applications in aggressive matchups. I don't think it's really tailor-made for your control matchups, unless maybe you're looking for another Undying threat to go along with Strangleroot, guys. You're putting a lot of pressure on your mana then, because you've got a green-green spell you want to play on turn 2, and then a red-red spell you want to play on turn 4. But I mean, at the same time, like, this is a deck that does have Strangleroot Geist and Hellrider, so it's a deck that I think can actually be able to do those things. At the end of the day, we're talking a lot about the card. I don't think it's coming in here.
Yeah, probably.
So I don't think it matters all that much. And then the Trader's Blood, I think, comes in if Zealous Conscripts is joining the party as well. So we'll see if that does come in. Either way, it looks like one or two of these players are taking a mulligan right now. Not sure what their starting hand size is going to be. We'll get confirmation for you guys from our table spotter there to see exactly where they're going to start.
It looks like 6. That looks like 6 to you on Chio's side?
It looks like 6 from Chio's side, yeah.
I think BBD just drew his as well, so I think they may both have mulligans. So if you're just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco in the booth with Cedric Phillips, coming to you guys live from Baltimore, where we are bringing you Game 2 of Round 6 of 10 of the StarCityGames.com Standard Open Series. Confirmation is that both players mulligan to 6. It looks like William Cho, down a game, versus BBD is actually going to go to 5 here. So BBD playing his black-white mid-range deck. He wrote an article about it this week on Star City Games, the article titled Orzhov Guildgate. BBD a big fan of that card. I mean, it single-handedly caused him to win a PTQ, right?
Yes, by having one in his pocket, he can win a PTQ.
It was in his pocket, right.
Which means that you can do that too.
Yeah.
Anyone can do that. Just carry one around with you.
Is there a specific pocket you should have it in?
That, I'm not sure. I would need confirmation.
I feel like breast pocket. We'll have to confirm.
Assuming that you're wearing a button-up shirt.
Well, you have to if you want to wear it in your breast pocket.
True, that's true.
All right, we're underway here. Turn 2 Strangleroot Geist from Chio. 2 BBDs, turn 1 Orzhov Guildgate. BBD has that blind obedience, so we're going to see how much of an impact that has. As you mentioned, the subsequent copies will have diminishing returns, but I think BBD is willing to take that on the chin there if he can get that effect as early as turn 2 against a hasty red-green deck. So
yeah, I mean, this card's absolutely incredible against this deck. Of course, incredible against haste in general, and then extort. You know, now Simon Blood is only going to deal 1. He's going to get to draw 2 cards. So, you know, there's a lot of things that make this card great in this matchup. Again, when Blind Obedience was released, a lot of people were just looking at this card as being all upside, and it's not that. But in the matchups where it's very good, and the things that it's good against, it's very good. And this is one of the matchups where this card is a great sideboard card against this all-haste deck. This is exactly where you want to be, and I think that, you know, you will keep kind of a questionable hand because you make their cards so much worse because of Blind Obedience.
So Geist is going to go ahead and get in for another 2. Chio looks like he's going to play Thundermaw Hellkite, which comes into play tap, so doesn't do much just yet. If BBD has removal for it, then he's in good shape.
So yeah, you see just the impact that Blind Obedience is having on this game, which is a huge one.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge.
I mean, imagine if BBD had been on the play and had that Blind Obedience before the Strangleroot Geist, he'd have taken 0 damage. Well, he would have taken some from the Geist subsequently, but yeah. So BBD considering his options, he's going to go ahead and play. Looks like an isolated chapel here. This is his 4th land, and he says go. Oh no, he's going to play a Desecration Demon. Looked like he said go. So Desecration Demon now for BBD.
A card that we have seen a lot of today.
Yeah, it's a very popular card this weekend. And Cho untaps his Thundermaw Hellkite, his Strangleroot Geist, and his Elvish Mystic.
You know, what's kind of interesting too is that you're going to see Cho take a look at Desecration Demon. Is that it's funny because I think Kibler's deck is actually set up pretty well against Desecration Demon. You know, you sacrifice the Strangleroot Geist, comes back with Undying, you actually get to keep attacking with it. And because of Blind Obedience, it makes that play super mediocre to play where you just don't even really care about it if you're BBD.
Right. I mean, it's nice that you get a free sacrifice off. You know, you can sack the Strangleroot Geist here, but you just can't attack with it. So you get a free sacrifice, I guess, because of the Undying. But
Before
it's not
you would
as
actually,
good.
you would like laugh if they played a Desecration Demon.
Right.
Like, all right, immediately sack my Geist, get you for 5, 6, 7, 8, potentially 9 points of damage. Now it's like, I do get to still sacrifice it, but I don't get to get you for a lot. And those points of damage that you're, quote, missing, those matter a lot in this matchup. Because, I mean, BBD is a control deck here.
Yeah.
He just wants the game to go long.
So Joe trying to figure out what he wants to do here. I mean, I guess if I'm Cho, I sack the Mystic and swing in with everybody. He's going to...
I think there's a Flint Hook board that comes
Yeah.
into play tapped.
Play a Flint Hook
I'm really curious to see if he's going to sacrifice here or not.
Yeah, he's really curious too.
Yeah.
Looks like he hasn't decided. So it looks like he's going to go... And in that case, I would have tapped the Mystic for the mana.
Yep.
But he hadn't made the decision yet. So sacrifices the Mystic to tap down the Demon, swings into the Strangleroot Geist and the Thundermaw Hellkite for 7 damage. Brian down to 6.
So the Demon is tapped, but I think we're on BBD's turn.
Yeah, are we on? It looks like it.
He's just going to pass the turn.
Land
back.
go, yeah.
Now this is funny, okay? BBD wrote in his article about the interaction between Restoration Angel and Desecration Demon, and how they have to sack something to take care of the demon,
Right.
and then it gets tapped, and then they attack with their creatures, and then you Restoration Angel the demon, you have 2 surprise blockers. He wrote about this in his article, and I think the situation is actually here right now.
Yeah, I imagine it is, and I get the impression from Chio that he is so hesitant because he doesn't know what to expect from BBD because maybe he didn't read the article. You see how he's very hesitant to make any plays. He just thinks a lot and kind of very slowly turning his creature sideways. You know what I mean? Like even his lands there, it's like, you play this and tap it. You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, there's
like
definitely
there's
some hesitance there about what exactly to do, and how do I go about navigating this? Because again, this isn't a deck that is really ingrained in the standard format. This isn't Jund. This isn't Blue White Red Flash. This isn't the Mirror. This isn't the Dragon Master Red Green Mirror. This is a Black White mid range deck that I haven't seen a lot of, and I don't know all the things that are happening here. You see BBD tapping all of his mana immediately.
And this is an extorted Restoration Angel.
He says, all right, I'm going to extort and, pay the extra 1, extort you, and not blink out the Desecration Demon, because I'd like it to be a 7/7, not a 6/6.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No reason for him to do that. Cho, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that exact situation where Cho taps down the Demon and BBD blinks in the Angel, or flashes in the Angel to blink it. Nevertheless, BBD with a 7/7 Demon and a 3/4 Angel, alongside that blind obedience that's having such an impact on Williams' haste creatures. Williams and BBD's in great shape, and now he plays an Obsidat.
Yeah, and if you're Cho, you have to be terrified because he chose not to extort with Obsidat, which means that he has. I mean, you can put him on a range of cards that he can have here, right? You can put him on a more traditionally played card like Tragic Slip, obviously.
Duress.
Yeah, you can put him on Pay No Heed. You can put him on some varying cards here. But you know that he has a spell to play if he didn't extort, because he wouldn't miss out on that to bluff in the situation.
Right.
And the insane thing here, too, is by leaving up Tragic Slip, if Joe wants to get through with his attacks, he's going to have to sacrifice something to Desecration Demon, which is going to turn on the Morbid for Tragic Slip. So this works beautifully for BBD. Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
So Joe's going to use his Scavenging Ooze to remove a card from Brian's graveyard and grow a little bit.
And now Obsidat's just going to leave.
Yeah, Obsidat says, I'll be right back. BRB.
Yep.
How do you spell Obsidat? BRB.
Alright, Cho's going to draw a card. I don't know. See, I don't know what he can do to get himself out of this situation, like ignoring Bonfire of the Damned. And even, let's say that perfect case Bonfire of the Damned actually comes up off the top of his deck. I don't even know if that's good enough to get the job done right now. That's the big thing.
He doesn't look very happy.
Sideways. He's going to turn sideways and not sacrifice anything either.
Leaving the demon available.
Yep.
kind of the read on the tragic slip. It's pretty much telegraphed.
Yes.
So I think he's aware that.
Now, if you're BBD, you have to play around pretty much one thing right now. I think you would argue, which is Rampager. Yeah. Figure out what the best blocks are, and can you beat a Rampager if he has one? If not, how do you go about blocking?
I mean, tragic slip still deals with the Geist to prevent some damage here.
Yeah, that's a start.
So it looks like Demon's going to get in front of Hellkite, and Angel is going to get in front of Flinthoof Boar. BBD says, "Those are my blocks. What do you got?" Boar Clan Rampager says Cho.
So it's going to be 9. 9 minus 7 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, is he a point short? Because that would be insane if he was a point short.
Yeah, there's the Demon's is 7/7.
So it's going to, Thunderbolt's going to be a 9/9. 9 minus 7 is 2 because of trample.
Right.
2, and then 4 from the Ooze is 6, and then 2 from the Geist is 7 and 8.
Oh, gosh, is that brutal.
So you got me to 1, but 1 is not none. I think we might see a slip here.
Yeah. I imagine BBD would love to make use of the slip.
It's interesting,
take out
right?
Something big.
Because he would like to slip here, but I think he'd like to slip with Extort.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the situation he's in. But I think it's more important to take care of the Thundermaw here, which is what he's going to do with the Morbid and Tragic slip. So minus 13 is going to take care of the 9/9 Dragon.
Right. And Obsidat comes back.
A little drain him, a little brain him.
Yeah,
go up to 3.
Go up to 3, yeah. So Cho at 16 now, BBD at 3. I think that's what Obsidat's flavor text should have been, BRB.
BRB for BBD?
Yeah, there you go.
So what's he got in his hand? That's the question right now. I mean, he's at 3. There's North-South Guildgate.
Why, that's hilarious. I wonder if he has...
That shouldn't be that funny.
Yeah, he's got 3 in his main deck and 1 in his pocket. Presumably.
Alright, what's our follow-up?
Can we get confirmation whether he has a Guildgate in his pocket?
Talk to the table spotter, not sure. I'd like to believe he has one in his pocket.
So BBD kind of on the ropes a little bit. I mean, he's at 3. It's a scary place to be against a deck like this red-green deck.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Hastings cut off right now, so now he's just trying to not die like a Searing Spirit type card.
Yeah.
Any damage that can actually happen, any reach that the red-green deck does have. Luckily for him, this deck doesn't have a ton of it. He has 1 Searing Spirit in his sideboard, does show. He's got 1 Bonfire in his main and 1 in his sideboard, so he doesn't have a lot of reach. So here's a Flinthoof Boar that's going to come to play tapped and pass the turn back. So Blind Obedience is doing a ton of work in this game, but BBD needs to find some spells to actually keep it stored and keep his life total high.
As you see, that turn he decided to keep Obsidat around as a blocker.
Yeah, that's really telling.
Yeah. So Cho's Flinthoof Boar comes into play tapped, passes back to BBD. There's a Guildgate.
Pass the turn back.
I think that's all 3 Guildgates.
The 4th one's going to come out of his shirt pocket.
He just reaches in and just plays it.
Yeah.
All right, Scavenging Ooze is going to grow a little bit bigger there at the end of turn.
And don't worry, that Thundermaw is not in play. It is in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Or
it's exiled.
It's either exiled or in the graveyard,
Yeah.
depending on how he's organized his graveyard.
Right. I believe it's actually in the graveyard because he's used that Scavenging Ooze more than once, and it looks like the bigger pile is down there with that Flinthoof Boar. So, William Cho down a game to BBD's Orzhov Guildgate deck, facing down Blind Obedience, but he does have BBD to 3. Unfortunately, he also is facing down Obsidat and a Restoration Angel on the other side of the table. Both creatures bigger than than all of his. The Scavenging Ooze is a 5/5, and has the potential to be a 6/6 if I am understanding that Thundermaw is in the graveyard.
And now he's turning them all sideways here. So this, again, smells like a Gorkland Rampager, but now this is a Restoration Angel here from BBD. So now he's going to blink Obsidat, and there's an Extort trigger, so now he's going to go from 3 to 6.
Yeah, so extort from the blind obedience. Obsidat blinks. BBD at 6 with 3 blockers. Cho has 3 creatures attacking. So now BBD just needs to find his blocks. He's going to go ahead and double block the Scavenging Ooze. And
So Ooze going to turn into an 8/8 now.
I mean, doesn't a Rampager kill him off of the Geist?
He must not have Rampager in his hand.
Right. I was just saying,
Yeah.
like, does it being in that situation for
Yep.
BBD?
I think BBD comes to the conclusion there that like I can't beat Rampager really at
Yeah.
this point. And so as a result, I'm just going to block this way and hope that you don't have Rampager, which ends up being the case. The board clears. We see 2 Restoration Angels standing tall, and then Strangleroot Geist, and that's it as Joe played a Stomping Ground post-combat and passed.
Yeah, Scavenging Ooze essentially trades with Obsidat there.
Yep. Oh, we're getting aggressive now, trying to get this game over with.
So BBD in for 6 with double Restoration Angel. He has a ton of mana over there, 8 lands in play. Not quite sure what's in his hand. He hasn't really cast many spells recently. He cast that 1 Restoration Angel last turn.
He's got a
Gala Shrine tapped.
I kind of like this attack too. Like, okay, he's got a follow-up. Never mind. He's got Desecration Demon. But I was gonna say I like this attack anyway, just because, like, there's so many cards that are shut off for Cho. Like, you don't have to worry about a haste creature coming off the top of the deck to ruin. Like, Hellrider's not gonna kill you in this situation. Hellrider would actually put him to 1.
Right.
Strangleroot Geist in the trigger if he didn't have Desecration Demon, but Hellrider wouldn't kill him. So I like the attack of just getting aggressive in that situation.
So Cho here with 6 lands, plays a 7th, it's a Stomping Ground tapped, passes the turn.
It's not over yet, but it's pretty close. Like, the windows are closing very quickly here for Chio because now he has to sacrifice Strangleroot Geist to Desecration Demon to tap it. And we'll see how BBD ends up wanting to attack because now I think he's in a situation that he's at 5 where he might want to leave a blocker back so
Right.
he doesn't lose to a Rampager.
Yeah, I think he attacked with 1 Angel here because it doesn't change the clock.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think he drew a land, so it's not. That's not relevant.
You can even see it. You can even make an argument for leaving both back because of a card like Zealot's Conscripts. So if he attacks with one of them and then Chio peels Zealot's Conscripts,
Yeah, he's just dead.
yeah, then he just dies. Now Conscripts would come into play tapped, but the Angel would be untapped and he would kill him that way. So because it doesn't change the clock at all, I can actually see a pretty solid argument for actually leaving it back both Angels because he's got the read on Zealot's Conscripts. But I can certainly see an argument for making an attack with 1 Angel. I agree with you 100%. Definitely no attack with both.
Right. So he's going to go ahead with 1 and take the chance that maybe Conscripts is on the top. Hope that there's no Conscripts there or something similar.
That's a forest.
Yeah, it's a forest. So BBD takes the game and the match 2-0 over William Cho and his Blame Kibler Green-Red aggro deck. Dragon Master, red-green, whatever you'd like to call
Yeah,
it.
Gruul,
Yeah,
if you're a traditionalist.
absolutely.
You want to call it by its,
Guild name?
yeah, I was going to say shard, but it's not a shard.
It's not a shard.
Yeah, shards are three of them,
Right.
so.
So-
BBD, black-white mid-range.
Orzhov.
He's a guild. Yeah,
That's
Orzhov.
right. The Orzhov
Orzhov
guild.
mid-range, if you will.